The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at Nine News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at Nine News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at Nine News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Oh, yeah. Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, July 15th, and today is Social Media Giving Day for all you influencers out there. It's also National Get Out of the Doghouse Day, National Gummy Worm Day, National Tapioca Pudding Day, National Love Horses Day, and National Pet Fire Safety Day, you guys.
National Love Horses Day?
Yeah, National Love Horses, yeah. Yeah, shout out to all those horses out there. You know what I mean?
Especially Clydesdales.
Yeah, Clydesdales, exactly. My favorite, Rico, exactly. Well,
thick.
And they got, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look down below or up above to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. But kicking it off first, that's right, he has made an appearance and he's back. And he's black. It is the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte.
Yeah, Jason, I am. Thank
like
you.
that?
Thank you.
All right. Fair enough.
It's good to be back. And it's good to be black, too.
Yeah. Let you tell it.
Speaking of, Wiz Khalifa, he dodged a major bullet while performing in Romania this weekend.
Well, I see what you did there, Rico.
Did not mean to make that pun there, but when it happens, it happens. But sorry about that. Anyways, USA Today's Edward Segarra reported that pot-friendly performer Cameron Thomas, better known, arrested in Romania over the weekend after smoking weed on stage during a music festival performance. Per the article, Khalifa performed at the Beach Please Festival in Romania on Saturday, and footage of the rapper's performance shared on social media indeed shows him smoking on stage. A press release from law enforcement later confirmed that an individual was charged with illegal possession of high-risk drugs after attending a music festival with cannabis. It was noted that he, during a recital held at a music festival taking place at Costanesti Resort, Constanta County, possessed over 18 grams of cannabis, which is indeed a high-risk drug in Romania, and consumed on stage another amount of cannabis in the form of an artisanal cigarette. The Directorate for Investigating Organized Crime and Terrorism said that in a translated statement. Some of the earliest historical evidence of the psychoactive use of cannabis has been found in Romania, including the archaeological sites in Frumusica and Gerbanesti. However, today, cannabis in Romania is illegal for recreational and medical use. Although it's technically legalized for medical use in 2013, it has not been eliminated from the table. Romania's limited medical cannabis law was passed for the use of low THC, below 0.2% derivatives of the plant only. while the medical cannabis of any kind will not and cannot be prescribed by any doctors in Romania. The Romanian government has made it clear that cannabis of any potency will be accepted only if doctors from the EU prescribed it. So maybe we should send all of our Delta 8 over there. The fact that Wiz Khalifa got out of this situation unscathed is very noteworthy. In an X post on Sunday, Khalifa appeared to allude to his arrest at the Beach Please Festival with a caption reading, "Last night's show was amazing. I didn't mean any disrespect to the country of Romania by lighting up on stage," Khalifa wrote. They were very respectful and let me go. I'll be back soon, but without a big ass joint next time. I don't know who Wiz Khalifa had to talk to, who his people paid off, or whatever needed to be done to make sure Wiz got home. But I'm very glad that he did get back home. I guarantee he would not have gotten the Brittany Griner treatment if he got detained over there. But how about this, man? If you are a musical artist and you're doing a tour or whatever, if it is a very, very pot unfriendly country, just don't do that shit on stage. How about that? I'm Rico Lamitte, the dope dad on street for High 9 News. I'd to hear what the rest of y'all think about this one. Wiz Khalifa, they're doing smart things over there.
I mean, he was in Romania, correct, for this? And what? And the concert was called what again?
Beach Please.
Beach Please.
Did he say Beach Please when they arrested him?
Oh man, that's what he should have been saying the whole way. Beach Please, the whole way. Because I watched the video of him getting like escorted by these Romanian officers. He's like I'm walking, I'm moving, da 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 da. Just, you know what I mean? I'm complying. And this is the first time I've seen a celebrity get arrested since the turn of the century for smoking weed on stage. I'm a little shocked. I'm shocked by that.
Anybody else that got arrested while smoking? Because I brought up Jim Morrison, but he pulled his weenie out, so that's different. Has there ever been anybody arrested on stage smoking?
I know that there have been. I know that there have been. I'm pretty sure NWA has probably got arrested for smoking weed on stage.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. We'll have to
Snoop.
Mm-hmm.
Has Snoop been arrested for it? Because that's where my mind went. I'm like, if you're gonna get somebody, that's an easy target.
I would have guessed Snoop would have been arrested before for smoking on stage.
I know Snoop.
This story was a trip for me because Romania was one of the first countries to grow hemp and be exporting hemp all over the country. I mean, all over the planet.
Yeah.
Well, so we know he didn't try to use the alibi that it was only THCA.
He should have.
Maybe Andrew Tate and his brother got him off the case, off the hook.
Oh, I knew he was going to end up coming up somewhere in this story, Rico. I knew someone was going to bring him up.
Maybe your boy
Maybe
Captain Saving
himself,
Andrew Tate.
Mm-hmm.
To the people of Romania, that they'll put handcuffs on anybody, which is.
Yeah, they will put handcuffs on anybody in Romania. That part's true.
I don't want to go to jail anywhere outside the U.S. I don't want to go to jail anywhere, but outside the U.S. sounds particularly.
Look, if you're going to do that in front of a crowd, in front of law enforcement, you are baiting them into having to do something. I mean, the lack of common sense that this demonstrates, and this is an incredibly talented artist, but in a post-Brittany Griner environment, the lack of common sense that this demonstrates is, I mean, if you don't have a stage manager who can keep you in your lane, then your team sucks. Because this gentleman is an artist of an incredibly high caliber, isn't probably the person who's going to be thinking about compliance as he goes from country to country, town to town, performance to performance. And somebody on that staff has to know where they're at and what they're doing and when there's risk involved. And the fact that it got to him being arrested means that his team failed him at a very minimum.
Well, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
You're an artist, man. You do what the fuck you want. But sometimes when you're an artist, you're in the moment, you do what the fuck you want, and you're like, yo, don't hold me back. So
that's true, but like,
how'd that work for Brittany?
Somebody's holding back now.
Like, I'll tell you this much: whoever worked at the border checkpoint that granted Wiz Khalifa the ability to enter Romania is probably going to get fired.
I'm guessing he came in on a PJ, and they probably don't search.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, they do. You still get. I've done international travel on PJ, and you still go through customs regardless.
I'm telling you, they didn't search.
They still go through customs.
Because he's famous.
Still go through customs.
No shit.
I think we need to spin off a new business enterprise, which is fake blunts, prop blunts for performers who are traveling and performing internationally, and we can sell them 100%, 180 country compliant.
I mean, I think it would have been funny if he was smoking oregano, like, because that's what they used to use for all the decoy joints back in the day, back in the 80s and 90s, is oregano.
I mean, yeah, that's true. My dad said he sold tea to some girl on the beach one day because they wanted to get high. So
she still wants her money back, by the way. She's been looking for him.
No, they smoked it and pretended they were high. Women will lie about anything, Rico.
Yeah, oh man, that's true.
Yeah, no, but big shout out to Wiz Khalifa, man. I'm glad he is back.
I'm glad he had enough money to make bail.
Yeah, well, the sales of Khalifa
A fine is a fine by any other name.
Mm-hmm. That's just fine, right? It's just fine.
It's all good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Brittany, if they paid women what they were worth in the WNBA, maybe
what, nothing?
Nothing, yeah.
What, nothing?
maybe she would have been able to do the same, and she was not.
She would have been paid nothing.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
technically, she's overpaid.
She's also a woman beater. Why are we?
Yeah, I don't think Rico's getting you.
She's one of the greatest players, period, in the WNBA. So, like, she's very much underpaid.
Like she did her wife, because you're really, really cheering for her today.
Yeah, she got a DV,
Why
bro.
would I not? Because she's a fucking great basketball player.
She's also got a DV.
Yeah.
Just saying.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Crickets. You got crickets? You got crickets over there, Millie?
I ain't touching that one.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Hot takes this morning on a Monday, you guys. Yes.
Hey, man.
Yeah, there we go. There's the crickets. There they are. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Well,
it's Griner.
Mathieu
It's
St.
Brittany Griner. We get people's names right. How about that? Yeah.
not to be confused with Grindr, but nonetheless, we are going to roll into a commercial and we're going to be right back.
Oh man, that was weird. Hey, you America. Do I look like Sean Connery? Good morning, America. Saman Razani coming to you live from sunny Los Angeles, California with the one and only highest host, Mr. Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast? You can find it on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. No excuses in 2024. If you haven't checked us out, check it out now. And also, check out what the Prophet's doing in 2024.
He's known for smoking the best weed in the world and being the highest Republican in every room. And you know what? Maybe this weekend he supplied his favorite ex-president with a little bit of consolation after his rough gathering up in Pennsylvania. Coming to the stage, none other than the High at 9 News head honcho, Jason Beck.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, Rico, and good morning to everyone out there. Hope you all are having an amazing Monday. It is Monday, the most important day of the week. But, Rico, this story is for you because I think these people are straight gaslighting people, bro, out in Europe right now, okay? Because European cannabis companies start an IPO, planning as the U.S. considers to looser their rules, you guys. That's right. A number of European cannabis startups are planning to go public in New York City to take advantage of a U.S. proposal to reclassify marijuana as a less dangerous drug and decriminalization in Germany. Despite depressed share prices among bigger groups in the sector, Grow Group, a London-based medical cannabis distributor, is planning an initial public offering on the NASDAQ in the first quarter of 2025, targeting a valuation of more than 100 million pounds. It has raised more than 12 million pounds since it was founded back in 2017. And Chief Executive Benjamin Langley told the Financial Times there had been a period of 6 to 9 months where money for cannabis was almost completely shut off because of negative global sentiment and general risk aversion. However, the market is showing signs of improvement. In a quote, "What we're seeing now is that loosening up such that people are deploying funds, and there is definitely money again in this space, particularly from venture capital," he said, and the company would choose NASDAQ rather than the London Stock Exchange for an IPO, he added, because he would expect a higher valuation there. Grow had been on the verge of signing an engagement letter with a bank for a listing last year, he said, but suspended the process due to lack of investor interest. And Lisbon-based Somai Pharmaceuticals, which is involved in the extraction, development, and distribution of medical cannabis products, is seeking 250 million euros as a reasonable valuation in a NASDAQ IPO with secondary listing on the Toronto Stock Exchange or the LSE, said Chief Executive Michael Sasasno. And Welford Medical, a London medical cannabis manufacturer and distributor across the UK and Germany, is another startup considering NASDAQ. In a quote, they say, if the U.S. reclassifies, coupled with the legislative change in Germany, it could be the perfect time for us and investors to catch the sentiment wave, said co-founder Joshua Roberts. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration in May published a notice of proposed rulemaking announcing its intention to remove cannabis from its list of the most dangerous drugs and recognize its medical use. The drug is currently banned at the federal level, but is legal for adult use purposes in 24 states and for medical use in 38 states. If it is reclassified by the DEA, this could reduce taxes on state legal cannabis businesses, where the effective tax rate is often 70% or more. In the world's biggest cannabis market, clinical research on marijuana is also likely to become easier to conduct if it is reclassified. And in Germany, the largest medical cannabis market in Europe, cannabis possession and small-scale home cultivation were decriminalized in April. It has also been removed from the national narcotics list, and medical cannabis has been permitted since 2017. And all of these companies that are looking to IPO say building investor confidence after previous boom and bust cycles will be crucial, in addition to the relaxation of the rules. And in a quote, there is a taboo with cannabis that continues to be pervasive, said Sassano in Canada. Most marijuana stocks experienced huge growth after cannabis was legalized for adult use in 2018, but oversupply and cheaper drugs available on the black market triggered a slump in the share prices, which have never recovered to the same levels. How about you in there also, too, the lack of quality, but nonetheless. Canopy Growth, once Canada's most valuable marijuana company, and Tilray Brands of the U.S. have each lost 98% of their market value from respective peaks in 2019 and 2018. Shares in the New York-based Curaleaf, the world's largest cannabis company, are down 75% from their peak in 2021. However, founder and executive chair Boris Jordan believes that this is mainly because of strict regulation, and in a quote says, governments need to decide if cannabis is going to be legal or it is illegal. And if it's going to be legal, then they have to come in and support and create a regulatory environment that allows these cannabis companies to flourish, he says. I happen to agree with Boris on that comment. The government needs to figure out what it wants to do in regards to this. But I find it funny that all these Euro bros think that they're going to go onto the NASDAQ once cannabis is rescheduled, because rescheduling cannabis is not going to allow for cannabis companies to be on the publicly traded markets. This is just a farce, and I don't even understand why the Financial Times, which put out this letter, is even putting this out in the first place, because they should know better than this. But nonetheless, I'm going to hear what you guys have to say. This is Jason Beck for the High at 9 News Hour. What do y'all think about this?
I think Canopy and Tilray wouldn't have seen.
Well, it says they're planning. It says they're planning for it.
They're planning exactly. They're planning for it. They're releasing these statements. They're releasing these quotes. So they're definitely planning on it, which means that they're planning on it. Rico, that's pretty obvious.
Were they planning on it?
It's a whole lot of planning here.
We're planning.
I mean, they need to put a T at the end of their plans.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, why is this a story?
It's a story.
They're gaslighting. They're gaslighting the market.
Here's the story. The story is European
funding round.
Go ahead, Yarrow.
European companies.
I'm a European company. European.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna start raising my hand.
Go for it. Go for it, Yarrow. Go for it, Yarrow. We're listening.
European companies adopt 4-year-old business plan from Canadians, hoping to hype and take investors' money on uncertain timelines for uncertain deliverables. More at 9 a.m. with Senor Kubrin.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's the Canadian gaslighting all over again. I feel like I'm back in like late 2017, and all these Canadians gassed up the Europeans that they're selling their weed to, and now they're like, "Yo, you can go public too, eh? You just start up the paperwork, and you know what? All these legal fees are being paid. All these documents are being drafted up." Just for them to wait another 5-6 years and do nothing.
Yo, dog, I got like a shelf corporation ready to go. You want a shelf corporation? I got them good shelf corporations, pre-revenue, sitting on shelf, 5 years old.
Into the game.
So all these companies that are tabled, is that what you're talking about, Yarrow?
I mean, this is we talk about this as one of the themes on this show, the replication of mistakes in newer markets or by people who don't have the experience and expertise to have made the appropriate adjustments. And when this fails, I will be sitting here with a strong cup of coffee on the best daily news show for cannabis and hemp internationally, laughing and cackling like a little gargoyle on top of Notre Dame saying, "I told you so, motherfuckers."
Fair enough.
But you have to say it in German. So go.
Far for Nugan.
Far for Nugan? What does that mean?
It'll be far from good.
I remember how to say shithead. Scheißkopf.
Oh man. Beck's, it's German for beer. How about that? How do you like that, Rico?
Great.
Bad beer.
Whoa.
All American beer is bad beer in Europe. So I don't know, man. This just seems like like they are being gaslit into doing this shit.
They are, right?
I really don't know why they're announcing this, because like rescheduling is not. It still doesn't make it legal.
Yeah.
It's not going to make it federally legal. And there's so many loopholes that they're going to have to jump through, unless they want to do shell companies and do this for like non-plant touching entities, like a lot of other companies are doing this, but they're not even saying that. I don't know.
I did find it funny that he threw the London Stock Exchange under the bus, saying that, on NASDAQ we're gonna get a higher valuation there. Basically, we're gonna take more of your money. We're gonna jack you guys more.
Oh, they just do this shit in South Africa. You able to do that?
Oh boy. All right.
Colonizing on, baby.
Oh boy.
Y'all used to it already.
Wow. Rico's up and awake this morning. He's on one.
I see it. Well, we're going to keep this train rolling then. Yeah, since nothing else you guys got to say about this, we're going to keep this train rolling. We're going to roll right in to Mr. Yarrow Kubrin. He's the spicy little guy who is sitting up in the Great Plains of Sonoma, sipping Pinot in his tidy whities with his pinkies up. That's right, it is Mr. Yarrow Kubrin.
Tidy whities.
You know the only time I wear my tidy whities is when I'm covering stories from Europe, and then I just channel my inner sort of Speedo, and
so
the rest of the time
So you're wearing a Speedo?
I'm all about the boxer briefs.
You have an any? You have an any? Where do you pull it out of, Yarrow?
Whoa.
Okay, my Monday and your Monday have very different agendas, so let me sidestep the comments and get right into my article. But I am hoping that my after article commentary, that I can channel my inner Rico and provide some insightful and less off the cuff opinions about an article that I think is a great jumping off point for us today. So my article was published last week on Thursday. This is in Green Market Report by a very esteemed and experienced reporter, John Schroyer, who has covered the industry for years. And with that, let me eviscerate this article for you guys here this morning. First social equity dispensary in U.S. is now closed. If this is the future of cannabis, it's very scary, the article says. The first ever social equity marijuana dispensary to open in the United States closed up shop in March after the store's landlord declined to renew its lease, Green Market Report has learned. But the owner says it's not the end of the venture. The dispensary, Blunts and More on 66th Avenue in Oakland, California, right next to the Oakland Coliseum, was the first social equity license recipient to formally open for business back in November of 2018. The Oakland City program sparked a national movement aimed at making amends for the race-based targeting of blacks and other minorities by law enforcement during the heyday of marijuana prohibition. The humble program, which began with just 4 retail permits, included that of Blunts and More, led directly to similarly structured social equity programs in states like New York, Arizona, Connecticut, Illinois, and Missouri, along with the high-flying political promise that such policies would help create generational wealth to repair the years lost in prison for nonviolent cannabis convicts. Blunts and More co-founder Tucky Blunt had high hopes when he opened the doors. He even told Forbes and Leafly in 2018 he wanted to eventually list on the NASDAQ and become a national franchise. But now, Blunt has become more of a cautionary tale for cannabis entrepreneurs with dollar signs in their eyes, a warning signal that the marijuana trade is not an easy one in which to find success. I'm going to come back to this later because this author's got it completely wrong, and we'll talk about that in a sec. Blunt confirmed a Green Market Report that his shop closed to customers in March after his landlord declined to renew his lease. We'll come back to that. But he indicated in follow-up emails and texts that he intended to pivot to a marijuana delivery business and perhaps special cannabis-related events. He also shared that he's looking for a location to reopen Blunts and More, but he declined interview requests for this week for more details. I don't look at it as a closing, Blunt wrote in an email. It was more of a pivot relocation. Closing makes people think it can never reopen, which isn't true. Future of cannabis. But it's far from clear whether Blunt will succeed, said social equity advocate Amber Center, given how notoriously difficult the California marijuana industry is. Center, who owns the California brand Maker House, said the biggest takeaway from the Blunts and More closure, wrong, Amber, even if it's just temporary, isn't that social equity programs per se are failing, but that the California cannabis regulatory landscape is essentially unworkable for small companies. No, it's that if you sign a 5-year lease with no renewal options, you're done at the end of 5 years. Let's keep it simple. This is par for the course, considering the regulatory framework that we have had to work with. We're going to see many more business closures across the board, Center said. California, Massachusetts, Illinois, Maryland, wherever. My question is it responsible for us as an industry to continue to be encouraging people to get into the industry when we know that what the ramifications are? Is it responsible for businesses to sign a 5-year lease with no renewals if they know what the ramifications are? If this is the future of cannabis, it's very scary, Center said. The issue isn't with the Oakland Social Equity Program. That's right. Or even how it's been administered. That's right, Center said. She praised city officials for having adapted as necessary to feedback from industry stakeholders like her. Rather, she emphasized it's incredibly difficult to succeed in California climate with a 5-year non-renewable lease. I'm never going to point to the program and say this program was a problem, because this is a problem across the industry, period, for any business with a 5-year lease, Center said. She added that she is getting my ass kicked with Maker's House due to the same systemic problems, high stakes and local taxes, huge amounts of red tape, and major price competition from the underground market. The primary takeaway from Blunt's story, he agreed, is that having a cannabis business license is no guarantee of success these days. Definitely not a guarantee of anything but debt, LOL, unless you own the land, Blunt wrote in an email. So let me kick off my commentary in the most feisty, fiery, and fired up way possible. Woo. The problem with this article is correlation is not causation. And both the operator, the social equity advocate quoted, and the author are failing to acknowledge the singular reason why this article is news. If you are a business in any industry and you sign a 5-year lease, at the end of your 5-year lease, your business has no legal right to continue to operate. And so the notion that you could take a failure of real estate and expound it to be a failure of the industry or a condemnation of the limitations of social equity programs is ass backwards. The problem here is that every time a business fails in California, there is this burning desire to expound upon what it means for the greater economic macro system, when in fact what happened here is what happened at Cookies Melrose, which is bad real estate is bad business, creates a lack of sustainability. If you want a sustainable industry, quit worrying about straws in the sea turtles and start getting leases that are renewable, that allow a business to operate for more than 5 years. And so whether we look at closures like Cookies Melrose, where the lease ended, or closures like Blunts and More, where the lease ended, or amazing operators like Reese at Poshmark, whose lease is ending in San Francisco, there's only 3 reasons why this happens. You didn't know what you were doing, you got bad advice, or you hired underexperienced real estate professionals to navigate the execution of a leasehold interest as a tenant business. That's it. There's no other industry in the world that complains about a lease ending because they recognize their own participation and responsibility in crafting a set of real estate terms that allows them the power and the position to choose whether they would want to extend and renew. And so, John, you got this one wrong, buddy. This is about bad real estate. And Amber, God bless you, fellow Buddhist, no problems. I was your social equity applicant in San Francisco. We go way back, but your problems and challenges in California or at Maker House have nothing to do with bad real estate. And Tucky, God bless you. Know you very little, have nothing but good things to say about you. And if you sign a 5-year lease, in year 6, you have nothing. And so when we talk about sustainability in this industry and we talk about wanting to be treated the same as any other industry, don't get it twisted. Your commercial lease is foundational to what you may or may not be able to do with the business you struggle to stand up, operate, and scale. This is Yarrow Kubrin, High at 9 News. I'd like to hear what my other guests and pundits feel and think about this article today.
Yarrow, with commercial leases, because we know you're the expert in commercial leases, don't they automatically go into a month-to-month basis unless you move out at the end of a lease?
Every lease is bespoke. There is no automatic of anything. It is traditional for most leases at the end of a guaranteed lease term to convert to a month-to-month. But a month-to-month is a fancy way of saying you have no certainty and security. And commercial leases for businesses that plan on being around more than 5 years include the option for the tenant to decide to extend for an additional period of time. And if there are no renewal options in a lease, it has nothing to do with the industry interest rates. Let me put it more frankly. The people who crafted this lease did about as good a job as the Secret Service did of checking roofs this past week.
Oh, that's a fair point.
Damn.
There was a lot of neglect.
Shots fired.
Literally.
Part of it too is that we have these green zones, and so with the tiny bit of property that's available to navigators, really, at the beck and call of these landlords, you're really kind of leveraged.
You are.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
Landlords love long-term leases, especially when they're getting above market rates from the cannabis industry.
Exactly.
Why do you think they only gave him a 5-year lease with no renewal?
Because
why do you think he took that?
Somebody on the Blunts and More team did not think this through and chose a place that did not provide the certainty and the power to continue to be a business beyond 5 years. And you're right, Matthew.
Correct me if
the green zone creates more limited locational options, but there is nothing common about a lease that does not include renewal options unless the people who negotiated it didn't know what they were doing.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Rico, but the city of Oakland, in regards with their social equity program, all socially equity applicants, in order to be approved, they have to turn in their lease, and the city reviews their lease. Am I correct about that?
Correct.
I know we look the same, but Rico's gone for the day.
So why didn't
This is Saint Germain.
So why didn't the city
It's not the city's
bring
job to keep
bring this
making
up
a
or
bad
make any type of
fucking
note of it?
business decision.
Probably
It's
because there's
not the city's
nothing
job to keep
incorrect
making
with the
bad
lease.
business
It's not their job to tell them they did a bad job of negotiating. And yeah, it's just giving the lease.
Well,
over the lesser.
that defies everything of what social equity is supposed to be about in regards with them trying to help out business owners and whatnot.
No.
So I don't know.
No,
I
disagree.
disagree.
As a verified,
The criteria
as a
for
personally
subordinate-
verified
One at a
social
time.
equity operator in the city of San Francisco with my own lease, there was a minimum requirement for a 3-year term. Beyond that, Jason, you cannot,
Okay.
as a true Republican, say that additional government interference in the way private commerce is transacted is instrumental or integral to allowing social equity programs to be successful.
I didn't realize that they had a 3-year minimum. I didn't realize they had a 3-year minimum. Okay, all right, then
anything beyond that.
that's fair. That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Oh, no, everyone's just talking over me. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, go ahead, Jenny. Go ahead, Jenny. She's been trying to get something off her chest, apparently.
Well, listen, first of all, I love Tucky. Big shout out to Tucky. No shout out to Amber because, let's also talk about the fact that the city of Oakland had to look into what she was supposed to use and infuse into other social equity businesses to incubate them and misuse those funds. So
Hold on a second, Jenny.
Is my mic actually off?
Hold on a second, Jenny.
Son of a bitch.
There you go.
There
I knew
we go.
something was off.
Now it's on.
All right.
There we go.
All right, so listen,
Sorry, guys.
maybe I
Sorry.
should have said that quietly anyways.
No
But I
wonder
mean,
we've been cutting you off.
this is such bullshit. Tucky has been robbed multiple times, but Tucky's also been on Instagram talking about how he's sick of this, he built this for the community, he's tired of it, he's closing up, he's done, he's leaving. So let's not complain about just the lease. If you know that you got to move out of your apartment on the 25th of next month, by the 24th, you better have another lease somewhere signed. This isn't that fucking hard. We can't hold the city responsible, and social equity is not a guarantor of success. What social equity is, if you guys can't hear me, fucking turn your thing up, but it's the opportunity to fail like everyone else and not to be kept out of a business opportunity because of socioeconomic or criminal history, et cetera, et cetera. It's a chance to stand up and fail just like everyone else. Or they would say, hey, social equity applicant, here's your store. We've already built it. Here's the money to run it. Have a great fucking day. So I want to see Tucky win. I love you to death, Tucky. Please don't call me and get mad, or do call me and get mad, but I love you and I want to see you win, King. But someone made bad business decisions here. Your realtor, maybe call Yarrow Kubrin. I think he does a better job of negotiating leases, but we can't gaslight everyone into being, oh, poor me. And Amber, I don't want to even hear it from you, sis, right off in the Jeep.
Damn.
Done.
She dropped her mic.
Well, I mean, she dropped her mic because it's important for pundits and talking heads to responsibly offer their perspective and to acknowledge the limitations or the places in where that perspective doesn't apply. So you can opine and you can go on and on and on about all of the ailments affecting this industry. But at the end of the day, the first sentence in this article was the only sentence in this article, which is the 5-year lease ended and the tenant had no renewal options. And that's the only story.
That pretty much. Yep. That's unfortunate. He should have had some type of options, some renewal options already in place, some like other 5-year options that he could have just stacked on and added on, but
I think the biggest problem when a lot of people signed these leases was this pre-existing notion that federal legalization was 3 to 5 years out. And we've been saying that federal legalization
say that every year.
is 3 to 5 years out.
We say that every year. Yeah, we've been saying that since the 80s.
It's coming,
That's right.
Jason.
And so it's coming.
3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, you only and one of the reasons why you always say 3 to 5 years is because by the time it gets to that 5-year point, people have seen a few things develop, and then you can move those goalposts. And politicians do this every day. They just keep on moving the goalposts.
No.
Especially the ones on that side of the aisle.
Oh,
All I got to say is Wiz Khalifa's attorneys and his team is definitely much better than I would say what we got on here.
Yeah, the people who negotiated his release.
He's just lucky that the U.S. has good relations with Romania.
Leases.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, he's just lucky about that. Well, fair enough.
And look, much love to this author. He gets it 99% of the time right. He does a great job, but it's important to understand that there is no causation here. There is correlation. And the fact that this was the first social equity dispensary, the fact that there's a social equity program in Oakland that was used for a template has nothing to do with a lease that has no renewal options.
Mm-hmm. And Nick Bradley in the chat says his landlord not renewing the lease is a blessing in disguise. And on that, we're going to go into a commercial and we're going to be right back. The Control Tower from Highly Educated has perfected the dab. Utilizing the concept of thin film evaporation, you can waste none of it and taste all of it. The micro texture of the SE pillar increases nucleation at elevated temperatures. And with the tower propelling at 2,600 RPMs, it's certainly the most efficient dab experience to date. The Control Tower from Highly Educated. All right, stop whatever you're doing. Make sure that you hit that like button. I know we'll appreciate it, you'll appreciate it, and YouTube will appreciate it. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the show already, make sure you subscribe to this channel right now. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.high9news.com. I'm Jason Beck, and this is Smoky Vanilla. And if you want to feel as good as I look, then you need to get a stretch and smoke with Smoky Vanilla.
Hi, I'm Smoky Vanilla. I have my bachelor's degree in kinesiology, and I'm a sports massage therapist and stretch coach. I focus mostly on individuals that are in sport with chronic pain or injury. I love to intuitively create and customize a session based on the individual that I'm working with. We'll go over a few postural assessments, work together to create a wellness journey based on the health history, past injuries, or anything still affecting you today. And we'll get you back on your feet right away with less pain.
We're about to stretch, and then we're going to smoke, because we're going to get on our stretch and smoke. If you want to feel as good as I look, then you need to come on down and get a stretch and smoke with none other than Smoky Vanilla. Oh man, and we are back, you guys. We are back. Coming up next, that's right. It is the Count himself, the immortal one that has traveled the world for thousands of years, has walked barefoot for about half of those years, and actually invented shoes. That's right. It is none other than the Count himself, Mr. Mathieu St. Germain.
He's invisible. It's Matthew. Paging Mathieu St. Germain.
Did Matthew disappear?
Matthew did. He did. Listen, I've seen him turn into a lizard person. I've seen him do a lot of things. Disappearing's a new one, even for him.
It's all right.
That's a new one.
He figured out how to levitate.
He was on. He's here. How did he get from there to here?
Fair enough. I mean, I'm sure he'll be back in a second. He's teleporting, doing something. Probably has to. Good question.
I don't know.
But nonetheless, then we are going to roll right into Miss Jenny Beth Dills.
No, he's back. He finished
there he
his
is.
kegels.
Oh, he's there.
You guys.
No, you're there. You're on. You're on.
Getting a quick
Matthew.
stretch and smoke.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh,
all right.
shit.
Fair enough.
I'm usually last. Come on.
I'll make sure that you're last next time, bro. But you got your story in before the other two, so.
Oh, hey, everybody. It's St. Germain. All right, I have short attention span.
We can come back to you, Matthew. We can close out with you if you want.
Oh, let's go.
Okay.
My story actually references that earlier European story. Curaleaf has decided to join a marijuana multi-state operator, pivoting to 5T. I love that. Curaleaf Holdings was done with hemp. New York-based marijuana multi-state operator had a hemp operation in Lexington, Kentucky. It's part of a product line the company had operated since 2015. But as of September 30th, 2023, Curaleaf had ceased all of its operations related to the manufacturing of these hemp-derived products. Thoughts? Instead of exiting hemp for years, viewed by many in the industry as an unwelcome competitor to strictly regulated marijuana, Curaleaf would go all in, joining a growing trend among licensed cannabis companies. The first quarter of 2024, with federal marijuana reform efforts not yielding any practical changes, Curaleaf made a strategic decision for the hemp market, but he reported in filings. Instead of canceling and divesting, Curaleaf held on to the lease as well as its equipment in Kentucky. On June 24th, they launched an entire product line of hemp-derived THC products under a new Hemp Co. Curaleaf branded gummies, drinks, and other shelf-stable intoxicating products, all derived from hemp, thus legal to ship across state lines, are now available via e-commerce mainstream retail channel. As the products are derived from hemp, the company can serve consumers in deep red markets that are traditionally unfriendly to cannabis, such as Texas. By the change, I can't point to one eureka moment that changed Curaleaf's mind. Their CEO, Matt Darren, told MJ Biz Daily. After Darren spent time with federal lawmakers in Washington, D.C., the 2018 Farm Bill, partly by accident, legalized a nationwide trend in hemp-derived THC that is legally distinct from marijuana. These facts became undeniable. Hemp is legal. Cannabis is not in the eyes of the federal government. Much as we continue to be industry leaders in advocating for cannabis reform, that was a really revealing viewpoint. Curaleaf's reversal is part of a growing industry-wide trend, one that represents a significant departure from past practices. In April, the organization sent a letter to the federal lawmakers requesting they close the 2018 Farm Bill loophole, which is credited with unwittingly legalizing a nationwide market in hemp cannabinoids. It hasn't happened, so instead of lobbying for regulations to squash these products, a lot of these MSOs are just starting to jump in. I think they're seeing cookies, etc., and following suit. In addition to Curaleaf, Chicago-based Green Thumb Industries licensed its Incredibles Edibles brand to hemp-derived manufacturer Herb, according to Forbes reporter Will Yakowitz. The spokesperson for Green Thumb did not respond to MJ Biz Daily's request for comment. Other brands sold in multiple states, Cookies, Jeter, and 1906, also have jumped into the hemp arena. Our philosophy is come on in, the water is fine. Jonathan Miller, a former Kentucky State Treasurer and hemp advocate, told MJ Biz Daily. We welcome more and more people and companies to this coalition. Right now, there are a handful of marijuana companies that are trying to destroy the hemp industry. More marijuana folks that come over to the hemp side, I think the less hostility there will be for both sides of the plant. Let it right attitude toward hemp on Capitol Hill might be waning. In late May, U.S. Rep. Mary Miller, an Indiana Republican, introduced an amendment to the House version of the long overdue Farm Bill that would ban ingestible hemp products. The Republican-controlled House Committee on Agriculture voted to advance a draft Farm Bill with Miller's ban included. Full U.S. House has yet to take up that measure, or has the Democrat-controlled Senate even begun to consider it. Thus, there are legitimate doubts whether the Congress will be able to pass a Farm Bill in 2024 at all, mainly due to the election. In the meantime, the status quo allows hemp-derived THC products to be sold across state lines and online, with certain state-by-state carve-outs and restrictions. That means an opportunity remains for brand expansion that's difficult to resist. Building a global brand. We want our brands and our products to be as widely distributed as possible, as long as it's done the right way, Curaleaf's Darren said. Looked at this opportunity and we said, this is really compelling. We're in the THC industry, and so we've kind of taken the leap into it. This is really interesting to me. I think it could be interesting, and I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. The federal government has maybe stumbled and opened Pandora's box with this hemp legalization that might never be able to be put back. And last thing I would like to say is I'd like to see hemp industry focused on where hemp can really build value and add value, which is non-toxic oil bases for products, fire-resistant, non-toxic building materials, non-toxic packaging and shipping materials, etc. Really excited to hear what everybody else has to add to this. This is Mathieu St. Germain on a beautiful Monday. The Hyatt 9. Take it away, guys.
I'm with you on all of that, Matthew, as far as that. But this isn't anything new by Curaleaf. Like, Curaleaf has been selling hemp-derived products forever. So they must be trying to raise some money that they're making this announcement, because otherwise, this isn't anything new.
I didn't know. I'm pretty.
They've owned Select since around the beginning of legalization in California. Select has always had hemp-derived products. I know.
Really?
They even got one of those cease and desist letters when the federal government was sending them out for everyone making their medical claims on their packaging.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're in Missouri gas stations and everywhere.
Yeah.
Here as well too.
But I think it's more that they're
get,
entering the THCA space as opposed to just CBD products.
At gas stations.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You know, for me, like news about MSOs is like knowing if McDonald's has released the McRib again. I just don't know. I'm not the target audience.
Oh man, that's fair.
I mean, look, I think that it validates the opportunity in hemp, and companies are struggling to find ways to increase their top line revenue. We know that hemp products are a lot less expensive to bring to market, and there's a broader market. And I think a lot of these MSOs banked on either that 3 to 5 years to federal legalization that we talked about earlier today, or
just like they're banking on rescheduling,
or some of these markets opening up at a rate that was quicker than the actual rate that we've seen, because legalization in states subject to the entitlement process and the complications at both a local and state level mean that just because the voters say, yeah, we'd like to have a medical or an adult use program, it doesn't mean you got products on shelves. It takes years and years and years. And so I just think that this validates that there's opportunity in hemp, and it's just another example of companies trying to monetize that opportunity.
Yeah, like here in the state of Missouri, there's only, a certain cap on the number of dispensaries that are allowed to be in the state. And then now this act allows them access to all the smoke shops, all the gas stations. Because you can now buy cookies THCA at a gas station or smoke shop here. So that, like you said, broadens the market quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. I just like I said, they've been making hemp products for years, so they obviously must be putting this out there, trying to raise some more money. I know that they view the German market as a very, very, very big opportunity. So I'm willing to bet that that's probably is what's going on here. That's what I'm smelling.
The other thing is that we're seeing a convergence of the underregulated hemp and overregulated cannabis, and there's legislation currently on the table in California, and at some point, I think there are people who are betting on the notion that hemp-derived cannabinoids are going to make their way into the regulated cannabis space. And so with that in mind, it makes a lot of sense for MSOs who are already entrenched in regulated cannabis to figure out ways to have inroads into a hemp-derived supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
I think the hemp market is really showing how we should have processed these cannabis regulations in the first place. If the cannabis market was like the hemp market, it would be thriving, it would be nationwide. And again, it would really push hemp producers away from trying to gain the system and make these smokable and edible products into where the real value for hemp is, which is a replacement for paper products, a replacement for petro-based chemical products, a replacement for building products, and we'd really be seeing more of an add to our country for ways, I think.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. I'm with that. You have any final thoughts on this, Jenny, before we move on?
I don't. It's just a song that never ends. I mean, cannabis operators that couldn't make money pivoted to hemp in 2017, 2018. Here we come again,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, good for them. Pay those investors back, however, but this sounds like we're reading about a lot of funding rounds today. But
you know what happens if you can't pivot, right? You know what ends up happening?
You die.
No, you have broken ankles.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. But we do want to say a very special hello to Miss Anna Lewis, who happens to be joining us in studio today. And we have a brand new commercial for you guys. Are you ready, Millie?
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's Joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Did you get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that, they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi. And
that place looks good.
it is. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Why didn't you show the part where I beat you at shuffleboard?
Because you've never beat me at shuffleboard.
Every time.
Ever. In your wildest dreams. Right. But nonetheless, coming up next is... it's Miss Jenny Beth Dills. She's the founder of Justice Served, a 501c3 profit, and a cannabis company called Be Kind Cannabis.
That's right. Not what it's called.
Oh, it's not? Fuck. Oh, well.
Jesus Christ.
Son of a bitch.
Write it down.
Just use the intro for me, Jason, because they're equally as substandard.
Oh, man.
Jeez.
You guys are rough.
You could just call me the queen of shuffleboard and introduce
No, not even close. You could never beat me in your wildest dreams. But nonetheless, it is Miss Jenny Beth Dills.
Oh, man. Jason lies to you guys. I don't know how to tell you, but Jason is not a truth teller.
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
Spit nothing but facts and truth.
Hooray.
It's just, you just happen to live on Denial River.
I'll spit whatever. Scoot over, though, so I can see. See, this is the point of the show where I move Jason. All right, we're good. Massachusetts marijuana regulators propose leadership changes amid ongoing tensions. The Cannabis Control Commission, which has come under fire for a disjointed and ineffective management structure, released a draft document on Thursday that attempts to clarify the responsibilities of key players at the agency, which is nice. More regulators should do that. The draft governing documents has been in the works for more than 2 years. It was released in a meeting that followed close on the heels of a legislative hearing this week where Inspector General Jeffrey Shapiro urged lawmakers to place the agency in receivership while the legislature develops a new governing structure for it, particularly in relation to the duties of the commission chair and its executive director, which is insane. Lawmakers seemed hesitant to pursue receivership, which they call the nuclear option, and a proposed amendment to a Senate economic development bill that would have paved the way for receivership was defeated on a voice vote. Ava Callender Concepcion, the acting chair of the commission, reiterated that her view that a receivership is unnecessary because the agency is capable of sorting out its leadership issues on its own. We'll get to that. We've all watched the legislative hearing and listening to the IG's perspectives around the need for clarity. Concepcion said, "This is us first recognizing that we agree that there was a need for some clarity, and this is our way of addressing some of that and providing clarity in terms of who does what, and also informing the staff of what expectations are for commissioners and the executive director." So, like, we didn't do our job poorly. You just don't know what our job is what she sounds like she's saying to me, but okay. The commission's been working on the governance charter since May 2022 before the inaugural chair of the commission. Stephen Hoffman resigned. The process was started with the express goal of defining distinctions in roles, responsibilities, and processes between commissioners and staff members. The government's charter document designates that the commission chair is the head of the agency, puts the executive director in charge of all the staff. It states that the chair has and exercises supervision and control over all affairs of the commissioners. Meanwhile, the executive director is set to be the executive and administrative head of the commission and is tasked with managing all of the work of the commission staff. The chair and the executive director are supposed to work cooperatively according to the charter. The government's charter has not been available to the public before now because the commission worked on it in a private executive session with a mediator present to smooth any conflict. The mediation has cost the agency $160,000 since the commission first began the effort to clarify its government. It's been no secret that there has been friction between the people who have occupied the roles of commission chair and executive director at the state agency. Hoffman resigned only several months before his term was set to end without giving a reason. Shannon O'Brien, the suspended chair of the commission, has made public that there has been bad blood between her and the past executive director of the commission, Sean Collins. In fact, part of the reason for her suspension was her alleged mistreatment of Collins. In a court filing arguing for a chance to defend herself against all allegations against her, O'Brien claimed that Hoffman resigned due to unsubstantiated allegations lodged against him and that a Cannabis Commission employee told her that she would be Hoffman 2.0. The commission has been criticized by Shapiro and others for its slow pace in releasing regulations addressing agency problems. One example is the 2-driver rule, which requires that 2 agents be in the car every time a cannabis delivery is made. Delivery companies say the high cost of using 2 drivers to make deliveries has made their businesses untenable. I could see that. The commission voted to eliminate the 2-driver rule and allow deliveries with just 1 driver in December of 2023, but new regulations implementing that decision haven't been approved yet, and commissioners indicated on Thursday that there were new regulations would not be finished for several more months, October at the earliest. Delivery licenses are currently restricted for an exclusivity period to social equity applicants, those who qualify for one of the 2 license types targeted towards individuals impacted by the war on drugs. The aim of the exclusivity period is to give businesses time to get off the ground and start making profits before bigger companies enter the market. At Thursday's public meeting, the commission kicked off the process of considering extending that exclusivity period. The CCC was slammed by Somerville City Councilor Willie Burnley Jr., who sponsored a resolution rebuking the agency for slow-walking social consumption, which he said has caused the city to lose commercial tax revenue and tourism dollars. Social consumption is one goal that the CCC has yet to deliver on. Last summer, members of the commission took a trip out to states where social consumption is already possible, but based on public meetings, social consumption is still a distant dream. Commissioner Norris Camargo defended the commission and said that regulations take time and manpower. We are always getting yelled at for something, but when you see the work that goes into every single word within our regulations, you see that today is a historical day, said Camargo. Oh, man. All right, so I don't know how many times I should yell about social equity, but I'm going to let Jason get his words in first because I'm just not surprised, disappointed, not surprised.
I mean, first of all, just the fact of their mentioning that a governing body going into receivership
It's crazy.
It's just hysterically insane, and the fact that at least the government knew enough to call it the nuclear option, I'll give them that much. But the fact that receivership is even a possible option within a government agency, just, I mean, man, this is just insane. Yarrow, I mean, how does a government agency even possibly go into receivership? I mean, how is that even an option?
Through extreme negligence. And so the analogy that comes up for me was the permit processing in Mendocino County that was eventually taken under receivership by the state DCC because Mendocino couldn't get out of its own way and had the lowest permit processing percentage of any of the 58 counties in California, even though it is arguably one of the most strategic locations in California based on legacy production in the Emerald Triangle. And so receivership is code for you couldn't fuck it up anymore. And the fact that they had 2 years to get this done, and the fact that they hadn't even published draft proposals of their documents around their operation, their operating agreement, under the auspices that because they were under mediation, they didn't need to be as transparent with the public as we would hope. It's all horseshit, as Dale Schaefer would say. And the idea, when you see leadership change, I mean, the second leader was put on sort of like probation for the way she treated the first leader. I mean, the problem here is there's no accountability, there's no transparency, and to Jenny's point and her reading of the article, they're taking tours out of state to view consumption lounges. That just pains me on every level. The taxpayer is paying for these government officials to go look at consumption lounges in other states when they don't even know how to get out of their own way and they don't even know what they're looking at. They can't even get anything done anyway. But thank you so much for your field trip to Long Beach or West Hollywood or Vegas so you can see what a more functional program looks like. Doesn't make any sense. All they need to do is cut and paste some things that are already working. And when they talk about laboriously laboring over every word, motherfucker, you ain't Shakespeare, okay? This ain't gonna be the next work of art when it comes to the word, to the English word. If you're laboriously laboring over every word, I would say you're already fucking up, and your process is not one that is prioritizing commerce and go to market.
I'm loving Yarrow today.
Yeah, that was fantastic, Yarrow. Man,
I'm here for it.
You're 100% right.
Referencing Mendo, I just found out from Jesse at Sticky Fields Post today, there's literally 23 cultivation permits in Mendo
that are active.
23 that the county has actually given out.
Mendocino is the Bernie Madoff of cannabis permitting. It is a Ponzi scheme designed to take everybody's hopes and dreams and dash them on the rocks at the Cape of South Africa. It is the worst thing that's ever happened. And that county is so important. And even their 10K limitation, you're going to let cottage cultivators only grow less than a quarter acre when they're busy trying to ride price decline and profit compression, is an insult to the region.
Fair enough.
I think it's really interesting that they're going to say that, no, we're not doing a bad job at our job. You just don't know what our job is. And part of the complaint
it's still being defined.
Right. And part of the complaint is how much they lag on things. And they've been writing their job description since 2022.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't understand. And it sounds like a bunch of people are sitting around an office fighting. So maybe that's why they're not getting anything accomplished.
I wonder, Massachusetts has, the most highest density population of Ivy League schools. I can just imagine this is probably what they do all day, just sitting around in there. Same thing, they practice for this, but
probably.
Yeah. Nonetheless, we're going to keep this thing rolling. We're a little bit over time today. Coming up next is Mr. Brandon Jones. He's the founder of Be Green Distribution out in the great state of Missouri, and apparently he likes to get high. That's right. It's none other than Mr. Brandon Jones.
Thank you, Jason. And yes, I do approve of plant medicine over pill medicine.
There we go.
Yes, I am. Surgery on Friday, I'm using plant medicine. So my story today comes out of Marijuana Moment. So pretty big news. The Senate committee pushes VA to consider medical marijuana as opioid alternative. So a Senate committee is urging the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs to explore medical marijuana as an alternative to opioids for veterans. And it's also asking the agency to consider allowing its doctors to formally recommend cannabis to their patients in light of the Biden administration's rescheduling push. So in a series of reports attached to the spending bills that moved through the Senate Appropriations Committee on Thursday, lawmakers included a variety of marijuana, psychedelics, and hemp sections, including a directive for VA to account for the little-known policy that blocks veterans from receiving GI benefits for educational courses aimed at prepping them to participate in the cannabis industry. These appropriations legislation was approved by the Senate panel just days after the GOP-led House committee passed, with reports that include sections critical of the marijuana rescheduling move and raising concerns about impaired driving, intoxicating hemp-derived cannabinoids. For the Senate military construction, Veterans Affairs, and related agencies spending bill, however, the attached report notably urges VA to conduct a study on the medical marijuana as a possible opioid alternative and report back with findings within 1 year of enactment. And I am a big fan of this. So reducing opioid use through medical marijuana, the committee encourages VA to conduct a study on the relationship between treatment programs involving medical marijuana that are approved by states, the access of veterans to such programs, and a reduction in opioid use and the abuse among veterans as data is available to do so. Findings should be provided to the Committee on Appropriations of both House of Congress within 1 year of enactment of this act. So that's hopefully going to happen within 1 year. And obviously this is a big thing, that getting our veterans access, big thing to off opioids. So it also says that if federal government does move marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 under the Controlled Substances Act, as the Justice Department has proposed, VA should consider allowing its doctors to issue medical cannabis recommendations to veterans living in legal states. So not only, changing that, but also allowing the doctors to issue this as an actual, some type of alternative. So, guys, this is obviously something that is near and dear to my heart, as if you don't know, it got me off opioids after a car wreck where I literally had surgery on Friday from a piece of glass that was been in my face for 26 years. So excited to hear what you guys have to say.
This is great news, Brandon. This is great news. Like, this is nothing but good news. Look at that. We ended this show on a good news day, you guys. This is, anything that's helping our veterans get the relief that they need from and not being forced to use opiated drugs, I'm all for it. Like, this is great news. Hopefully this goes farther than just this committee, but I do want to give those members of those committees a good job on this, and this is great.
was lucky that we had a bit of an event here in Kansas City this weekend called Operation Valor for veterans here, got access and more. So, we have recreational use here in Missouri. So we had a Mendo Dope concert, vendors, and had a lot of veterans get free access and get, more information and education on cannabis.
That sounds amazing. You guys were turning up over there. Getting it. Yarrow, you have any thoughts on this? Are you still with us?
I'm still with you in heart, spirit, and body.
Okay.
Yarrow had to go check his blood pressure and take his medicine after that last month.
I thought the people came to get him for the height requirement.
Oh, very, very funny. Some of us needed an eye.
That's who's outside our studio right now.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, you guys are going to jail. Short kings.
No, thank you. Yeah, I mean, look, I guess I get frustrated by the slow pace of progress. And so, the idea that we are still having this conversation in 2024, I feel like this is a headline that if I had just ripped it out of 2018 or 2012, when are we going to get past sort of this idea that maybe, and we just plow full into trying to understand and unlock the potential benefits of the plant with a robust scientific approach? The VA is arguably one of the largest healthcare providers in the country. And so they do a lot that's not right, and they're very large and inefficient, but they also do a lot that is right, and they are very large and efficient. And so if we can validate something through a VA system, it opens up the floodgates to a lot of other opportunities within private healthcare systems.
It does.
And so I'm just tired of, I sort of feel like I have, just to continue to double
PTSD
down on my extra spicy approach, I got blue balls because I'm sitting here going, oh, okay, well, maybe. And it's like, well, let's just get down to it. And why is the VA not moving a lot quicker? A lot of this doesn't feel like there's any groundbreaking data here. And so the Senate is urging the VA to do something that the VA has been urged to do for the better part of at least a decade. And how long does it take before the VA decides to take more substantive action and to do it quicker?
As a military child, I can tell you my whole family is military, and the VA takes forever to do fucking everything. Like I've contracted with a VA before, and they're awful. Like they treated me so poorly and didn't know that I was coming to do like a clinic operations thing. I can't imagine how I would be treated as a patient. Nothing happens fast at the VA, and I don't even know how beneficial this is. Listen, access is great, education is awesome, but if it never actually happens, how helpful is it, and how many vets are we actually helping?
And how many vets are still suffering with the opioid crisis in this country that want to get low to no cost relief and are willing to try something that might be better for them? When we talk about supporting our service members, it doesn't mean we fly a flag once a year. It doesn't mean we post a meme on LinkedIn about how much we care about our country. The measure of how much we actually care about our troops is the opportunities we provide them in private enterprise upon their return, and the way in which we treat their bodies and their minds after they've served this country in theaters of operation. And it's really important to distinguish between the policies of this government that we may not agree with that lead to service members being placed in harm's way versus the service members who chose to serve their country in this way. And so I say the VA is the bellwether for that. And if we can't make the VA be a better reflection of how we actually care about our service members, then this country is not going in the right direction.
Yeah, and they came out recently, the number of suicide is like doubled since before. So it's not 22 anymore. It's like over 40 veterans are taking their own life daily.
A day.
And if you don't think that help with depression and all the other things, access and just the stress of if you do consume, being a veteran and normal, are they going to take some of my benefits away? Is something going to happen to me for finding a medicine that works for me? Now I'm worried about that. So that's right.
No, that's absolutely accurate. And the VA will pump you full of opioids and send you away. Like, we haven't done anything to support these people. We're weaponizing human beings as a country, and then we come back after we've turned them into weapons. We're done with them, and we just cast them off. Like, it's I don't know.
So you're basically saying the government needs to step up their recycling program.
Wow. Wow.
So yes, they are recycling. Yes, they are recycling the skills and attributes that these people were trained and developed to be very proficient at, and making sure that there is reentry into civilian opportunities in a way that really truly honors the sacrifice and the contributions that they've already put in. Yeah, that's absolutely it. Like, could we have had a few more VAs looking at roofs at that speech? Could we have a couple veterans doing things? There's a lot of skills they learned in the armed forces that are really good in private enterprise, chain of command, following directions, just being industrious, being accountable, being reliable. It's not all about, combat skills. There's a lot of great skills that people learn. And if we as a country aren't prioritizing figuring out ways to make that valuable for them upon reentry into civilian life, then we're all failures.
Very, very.
Yeah, it's not only themselves, but their whole circles, right? It's their entire families, those that support them, those that are around them, that they need access. And, sometimes they're under the same insurance or the same things that they're worried about getting kicked off for their veteran for their entire circle.
Yeah, I'm in the position that veterans should get whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they paid the ultimate price, and we need to make sure that we're doing everything to provide the adequate care for them. And the fact that we have as many homeless veterans out on our streets across America is just extremely, extremely, extremely disturbing. And one last thing on the amount of time that you had mentioned, Yarrow, in regards of how long this is taking in the Senate. Do you know the number one rule in the Senate?
Do nothing, say a lot, sleep with your interns.
That's more than one.
Yourself above accountability.
No. For all the staffers in the Senate, the number one rule is hurry up to wait.
I saw something earlier today that said that Jim Jordan had been on Fox News 537 times in 6 years, but has never advanced a single bill. Is that true, Jason?
That's wild.
Well, that very well, but you can't. The pundits like to always put the onerous on, like, oh, if they don't get a bill moved, because that's not necessarily how you measure a successful tenure in Congress. I don't buy into that. That's a very very weird type of measurement for that to go through, because there's so many bills. It's just that doesn't even make any sense. That's a terrible measurement, but they like to gaslight the public on that often with that. But that means actually no measurement. I just wish Jim Jordan would wear a coat. He never wears a coat.
So if you're listening, Jason Beck would like you to put a coat on.
Yeah, wear a coat, bro.
Just one time.
One, if you would like to borrow.
Even just for the press conferences, at least, just throw a freaking coat on.
Well, maybe if he actually sponsors a bill, he can staple all the pages of the bill together and make a paper coat out of the substantive and tangible proposals that he is putting forward in his day job.
It's just crazy.
Wow. I love that Jason Beck thought we were going to end this as a happy story.
I did.
Have you met?
I know, right?
I was trying. I was really trying. It just is what it is. Well, also, too, just as a quick reminder, you guys, before we get out of here, this is the last week to submit your comments into the DEA for the rescheduling. So if you want your voice to be heard, make sure you email the DEA and tell them what you have to think about all this. Thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big thank yous to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and learning what is the insanity of the developing cannabis industry. We know you could be anywhere else, so we do appreciate you spending your time with us. Huge thank you to Catalyst. Anna in the building today. Yay. Yes.
Weed for the people.
That's right. Weed for the people, Yarrow. 100% right. Thank you to Cloud Media Partners. Millie over there pushing all the buttons, getting it in. And thank you all for joining us for America's #1 daily cannabis news show.